In the summer of 1942, a Japanese Army colonel believed the war in the Pacific would be decided by willpower alone. Colonel Kiyonao Ichiki had spent years fighting in China. He believed American soldiers were weak-spoiled and unwilling to fight at night. He reportedly described the U.S. Marines as effeminate and cowardly. On August 21, 1942, he would stake his life and the lives of his men on that belief. Before dawn, his regiment would cease to exist. The Battle of Tenaru took place during the opening phase of the Guadalcanal campaign. Henderson Field was the prize. Whoever controlled it controlled the skies over the Solomon Islands. The Japanese High Command believed the Marines were exhausted and undermanned. Ichiki was ordered to conduct a reconnaissance in force. Instead, he chose a full frontal night assault. He was certain it would be over by morning. As darkness fell, Ichiki's men advanced through the jungle toward Alligator Creek. They moved confidently, chanting and shouting as they approached the Marine lines. Surprise was expected. Resistance was assumed to be minimal. What waited for them was prepared firepower. The 1st Marine Division had dug in. Machine guns were zeroed. Artillery was registered. Barbed wire and flares covered the approaches. When the Japanese charged, they ran straight into overlapping fields of fire. Wave after wave of Japanese soldiers were cut down at the sandbar. Still they came. Ichiki ordered repeated assaults, believing courage would break American resolve. It did not. One Marine in particular refused to stop firing. Al Schmid manned a machine gun as bullets tore through his position. Shrapnel blinded him. His face was shattered. Even after losing his sight, he continued firing, guided by shouted directions from wounded comrades. The line held. Elsewhere, a Solomon Islands scout named Jacob Vuza had already helped seal the Japanese fate. Captured and tortured by Ichiki's men, he escaped and staggered back to Marine lines. Barely alive, he warned of the attack hours before it began. Because of him, the Marines were ready. By morning, the battlefield was silent. Nearly 800 Japanese soldiers lay dead. Fewer than 100 escaped. Colonel Ichiki refused to retreat. Accounts suggest he burned his regimental colors and took his own life. 87% of his force was gone in a single night. The Marines suffered fewer than 50 casualties. The Battle of Tenaru shattered a dangerous illusion. Japanese forces were not invincible. American Marines would not break under pressure. Discipline, preparation, and firepower mattered more than contempt and assumption. For the first time in the Pacific, the initiative shifted. From the Marco Polo Bridge in 1937 to the jungles of Guadalcanal, Japanese doctrine had relied on spirit over logistics and shock over preparation. At Tenaru, that doctrine met an enemy that had learned fast and dug deep. The cost was devastating. The night Colonel Ichiki attacked expecting victory became the night the Pacific War changed. The Marines held, the myth collapsed, and the long, brutal road across the Pacific truly began. On August 21, 1942, Japanese Colonel Kiyonao Ichiki led an elite regiment against U.S. Marines on Guadalcanal, believing they would flee at the first attack. Instead, nearly his entire force was destroyed in one night at the Battle of Tenaru. This documentary tells the true story of how arrogance and underestimation led to catastrophe, and how Marines of the 1st Division held the line at Alligator Creek, shattering the myth of Japanese invincibility in the Pacific War.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Share this video with someone who might find it useful. Comment below what you want to see in the next video.